Welcome to the fight with Teddy Atlas, presented by Dynamic Striking. I'm Ken Rideout, joined as always by the svelte Teddy Atlas. Today's fight plan is brought to you by our friends at MyBookie. Check them out at mybookie.ag. Use the promo code ATLAS for a 50% credit on your first deposit. Teddy, looking good.
17 pounds, baby.
Yes.
This fight, Usyk and Joshua, the rematch. Whenever there's a rematch, the first question that we would always put forward is, what has happened since? Well, in this case, a war, a real war. Not in the ring, but obviously in the country of Usyk, a horrible war, where his countrymen are being killed and his country is being destroyed. I always say that 75% of this business is mental. Well, this time for Usyk, and the fight gods are speaking as we hear the thunder. It's going to be a cracking one. They're agreeing. For this one, it's personal. And you wonder how he will be affected. That's the first question you have to look at. How will Usyk be affected by what's going on in his country? And then you look at the other side, Joshua, and Joshua, again, they're agreeing. They're agreeing. Joshua, he's going to now try to come back the second time. He's already lost the title once. Second shot at regaining it. The first time went well. He redeemed himself. He beat Ruiz. What will he do this time? Well, we got to get the answers. And to get the answers, we go here to the Chamber of Truth. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You hear that thunder?
Let's go.
Let's move, baby.
Perfect timing.
There it is. Let's go.
All right, Teddy. Oleksandr Usyk, Anthony Joshua rematch. Everyone's looking forward to this one. Huge fight, Saudi Arabia. What does Oleksandr Usyk have to do to retain his title?
Well, first of all, the backdrop of the whole fight. If he picks up, and you hear it a lot of time in a fight where you hear the commentators say, is this going to be the first round of the rematch or the 13th round of the first fight? Well, I can tell you right now, if it's the 13th round of the first fight, then Usyk knocks him out early. Yeah. He stops him because he had him going. He finally got to that place, Usyk. For me, he fought a very controlled, cautious fight. Some people could even say too cautious, but you can't say that. He won. It worked perfect because he had to worry about the right hand of the bigger man. But with the confidence now of knowing what he's got in front of him and knowing the success that he had, he might put the pedal to the floor a little bit more. And look, we don't want to do it and be irresponsible and reckless. You still got to worry about the right hand of the bigger man, Joshua. But if he does that, well, I think he could stop him. But he still has to deal with a big man. And the things that Usyk really, some of them work for him, and he has to continue doing them. You could even say, do the same thing he did the first time, to a certain point. But you always have to allow for Joshua to make adjustments. He made adjustments after he lost the title the first time against Ruiz. He actually changed his whole body. He became a different guy.
Ruiz actually changed his body too.
Well, unfortunately for him, unfortunately for him, he did. I guess that's an opportunity for say, I'm trying to change my body a little bit, and excuse me for wearing a tank top at this age. I normally wouldn't. I'm just saying, I don't, at this age, maybe you shouldn't wear that. But you know what? With being 95 degrees outside and probably about 110 in here, I have to keep up with you, the marathon runner. So I figured a little bit lighter.
The Box Raw 36 collection looks great too.
Well, I appreciate that. So, what does Usyk have to do? There's three things to concentrate on to make specific points for them, our great audience out there. One is, you can't get hit with the right hand, same thing. So you get into the orthodox stance, you're Joshua, and I'll get into the southpaw stance of Usyk. And the first thing he's got to do, he used his legs well and his jab well to win the first fight. He's got to move to his right away from the right hand. It's that simple. Where I'm always keeping you where you keep it in your pocket, you can't get it off. Now I go this way, you could get it off. So he's got to move when he's moving. Move away from the right hand. That's the first thing. Makes sense. The other thing is, something I think went unnoticed. Nobody talked about it. None of the commentators said. They just said the obvious. The obvious was that Usyk was landing a lot of straight left hands, his power hand from the southpaw position where he could turn into it, get his back into it. And he was hurting. He was effective. He was hurting, obviously, Joshua, the bigger man, with it. But why? Why was it landing? It was a trick. He was using a trick. Don't forget, this is the sweet science. That's why smaller men can beat bigger men. This is the sweet science. What he did is, he didn't just throw this. Here's the trick. What he did was, Ken, he set it up. He slipped over here. Where'd your eyes go? They went there. He went over, bang! And then he threw it. Not quite simultaneously, just with a little break. He started just to get his eyes there, boom! And then he threw it. That's what he did. And that's why it landed, and that's why it was so effective. A lot of those shots, Joshua didn't even see. I wonder if his training team even recognized to see it. If they watch this, they will. It helped them a little bit. And the third thing is that Usyk was very successful changing levels. Bang, bang, with the body, and then bang to the head, mixing it up, changing levels. I think there's an opportunity off of that success where if he goes down low and he lands, you got to get the respect early. Yeah. So you got to make it real. You land one early, bang, okay. And then all of a sudden, somewhere later in the fight, you bend down, boom, and you throw high. I guarantee you, he's going to catch him, and he's going to affect him, because Joshua has a habit of standing very straight. Yeah. And when you're 6'6", or whatever neighborhood that is, there's a lot of target to catch. And if he stands straight up like that, he sets him up to the body, goes down to the body, boom, look like he's going to go there, boom, and go there. If he does that, he's going to hurt him. Yeah. He's going to catch him. And all I can say at the end of that is, God save the Queen. But that ain't going to help Joshua. Nope. No. There it is.
There it is. All right, Teddy, as I mentioned earlier, the fight's coming to us from Saudi Arabia. Along those lines,
Saudi Arabia, as it is right
keeping
now.
With that theme, as people can tell from the way we're sweating, we're in Saudi Arabia. I'm just kidding. We're in New York City, the big baked apple. But we talked about what Usyk has to do. Let's talk about what Anthony Joshua has to do, if he can do it, to regain the title this time.
Well, recognize what went wrong. Understand what gave you the most problems. With the guy who was a smaller guy, but also a faster and, quite frankly, a more dimensional guy. The biggest thing was his problem was with the elusive aspect of Usyk. Usyk, being elusive, was able to avoid that big right hand, that the bigger man Joshua was looking to land all night long. So that's where it starts for me, is deal with his elusive ability. Make him less elusive. And I got just what the doctor ordered. I mean, quite frankly, again, excuse me, but if you go to dynamic striking, you look at some of my instructional videos, I talk about it. The lost art of feinting. That's what he needs. See, I will be Joshua. You're going to obviously be the southpaw. You're ready, baby. Yeah, and all he was doing was moving his head. So when I threw a jab, he would slip the punch. I throw a jab, he slipped a punch. So what you do is, when I throw it again, slip the punch. What you do is, feint, bop, bop, and then catch him. Again, he throws a jab, he's going to slip it. So give him a little feint, bop, 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 and just time him on the side. So that's number one. Use, and the Thunder, the fighting gods, the boxing gods are speaking. Yep. They're telling us, yeah, you got to feint a little bit. So that's number one. The other thing that he has to, which he didn't use it right, but he's not going to win this fight, Joshua, the rematch, unless he puts his jab to better use. He wants it to be a table setter for the right hand, but he was pushing it too much, and he was missing with it too much. We just touched on that. So the first thing is snap it a little bit more, all right? Want to snap it, pop, 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 instead of pushing it as a rangefinder. Stop doing that. Because while he was pushing it as a rangefinder, he was allowing the other man, Usyk, to find his range for punches, because he had nothing to worry about. Yeah. As he was pushing it, bang, bang, he's timing with different shots. That's number one. Number
Do you
two,
think he's pushing it because he was tentative that he was going to get countered?
but stop pushing it. That's the bottom line. That he shouldn't have been pushing it. Yeah, he was worried. He was unsure of himself, maybe about the speed and again the elusive ability of the man in front of him. But you're leaving the window open when you're pushing it. Pop, pop. When you're snapping, no window open. All right.
And do you think when he's pushing it too, he's also advertising that he doesn't have the confidence to snap it and get aggressive?
Yeah, I mean, confidence is a big thing with this man, with Joshua.
Yeah.
Does he or doesn't he have it?
Because he didn't look confident in that first fight.
No, and I think the other part of it is, does he want it as much as the other guy? Really? I mean, I know that's an age-old question, and and it's almost cliche. Is he hungry enough? Does he have the eye of the tiger? All that Rocky stuff. But there's some truth to it.
I agree. I think that's very appropriate here.
Well, if you look at both fights when he lost his title, I would say that you could make an argument that he was okay with it too much. He was too polite about it.
Yeah.
And listen, don't get me wrong. People out there are going to say, "Oh, what do you want him to be nasty and act like an idiot, like Wilder did when he lost the first time, to Fury?" And I'm not saying that. I like his manners. I like being gracious. I like sportsmanship. But there's something to be said about a sore loser that you care about it. He just after he lost to Ruiz the first time and then he lost, of course, to Usyk. It just seemed like it didn't matter enough. Like he accepted it too easily.
I'll give you a perfect example. Daniel Cormier, when he lost to John Jones, was crying inconsolable. He wanted to win so badly that it came across, and he couldn't almost control his emotions. Yeah. And I think that's two
polar opposites.
He
went out to be a champion and
two-time double champ.
And probably a legend in the sport.
Yeah.
DAZN, a great commentator.
Yeah.
So point taken. And so I think as far as now we're getting away from the mental domain. We're getting back to the tangible stuff, the physical stuff, the technical stuff. He's got to snap the jab.
Yep.
He's got to be right mentally to do that, no doubt about it. And he's got to lower the sights like you would on a rifle. Yeah, the sights are off. And that's, in other words, move your head. He's missing. So lower the sights. Lower it to here, to the chest. Why? Oh, I'll tell you, you're not going to hurt him there. The reason you want to go there is to stabilize him, to keep him, the smaller, quicker man, under control. Keep him where you know where he is. Just gain confidence by touching something. So lower the sight, snap the jab, bang, bang. It's harder for you to move, right?
Much.
Yeah, a lot harder. So that's number two. And number three, well, you used to hear me say it on ESPN when I was calling the fights all the time. Now you hear it on our podcast where I'm breaking down a fight. Put water in the basement.
Yep.
What's the best way? One of the things that really gave me problems, obviously, two things for me that gave Joshua the biggest problem. The jab of Usyk and the legs, right? Keeping him off balance, being too quick for him, in and out, side to side, all that. Well, take the legs away. And how do you do it? Take some air out of the radials. Air out of the tires. Put water in the basement. Go downstairs to the body. So use the table setter again, the snappy jab. Bang, bang, bang. And throw the right hand to the body once in a while. And pop, go over here. Bang. You got a strong body, so I touched you a little bit. Throw the left hook to the body. Now, with that last one, you get two for the price of one. You kill two birds with one stone. I'll show you what I mean. We talked about earlier that Usyk had to move away from the right hand, right? And the right hand, obviously, of Joshua. So by doing that, going to the body, not only do you take air out of the tie, you move him into the right hand. You move him the way you want him to move. Boom, back here, bang, into the right hand. I know more about that than frankly, I'd like to admit, because George Foreman, the great George Foreman, did that against my fighter, Michael Moore, to win the heavyweight title. So there it is. There's always more ways than one to skin a cat, and we just whoa, and there it is. Again, the boxing gods are speaking. They like what we're saying. The thunder above. There's three ways we just gave to regain your title. The three ways that if Joshua follows them, well, and he's mentally right, he's got a good shot.
All right, Teddy, for our friends at MyBookie, and again, check them out at mybookie.ag. Use the promo code ATLAS for a 50% credit on your first deposit. They've got the line at minus 195 on Usyk, plus 165 on Anthony Joshua. Who do you like and why?
I'm not going against a guy who's a proven winner. Usyk, besides being a good boxer and everything else and a southpaw, he knows how to win. There's something to be said about that.
Completely agree.
He's a gold medalist from the Olympics, right? And there's not a million of them. And he unified all the cruiserweight titles like Holyfield did. Other than Holyfield, he's probably the greatest cruiserweight champ of all time. And he still has to learn how to lose. You know, he's still got that 0 at the end of his record. So until I'm proven wrong, I'm sorry. No matter what the odds are, I can't go against this winner. And the way it left off, like I said earlier, you know, where he was completely in control, where he had Joshua hurt, that could signify an earlier stoppage this time. I would look to get some action on maybe a stoppage, you know, if I could with MyBookie for Usyk to get a stop. And maybe 1 or 2 maybe spots even for Joshua, because to me that's the only way he wins, is to catch him with that big right hand. And one of the things for this fight that kind of, I think, dictates this fight a little bit or influences this fight a little bit is, does Usyk get maybe a little too confident, being that he hurt him so badly at the end, and be just a little less cautious and maybe play into Joshua's hands? So you could go down that road if you want. At the end of the day, what did I say at the beginning? He's a winner. Winners are smart. Winners win. There's a reason. I'm going with Usyk.
There you have it. We'll see you after the fight, guys.